it and get fucking rolling. Rolling.
What? Keep rolling.
That's a great new contact photo for you, Bert, in my phone. Even though the one I have is like immortal, and I don't know if I have the original picture anymore, so I kind of don't want to change it.
Which one is it?
It's the one of you in your sister's ugly sweater.
First of all, I bought that ugly sweater.
I could have sworn you said this was my sister's, but
No, I bought it in the women's department in Macy's.
hell yeah.
The largest size they had.
That thing was like painted on you.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, wait, can you flex real quick? And it's like up to your belly button. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that one. I have that saved on my Instagram, I think.
Do I have enough time to fill up water here?
Yeah, go do that. Get yourself a refreshment.
Okay.
Having one of these Fresca vodka seltzers. Not bad.
Yeah, I do have it on Instagram.
Perfect.
Oh, nice.
Love it. All right, I'll
First of all, I was fucking jacked at that point in my life.
That was slimming down due to depression, Bob, and also puking in your bathtub because of booze, Bob.
And working out 7 days a week.
Yeah, that too. That was prime decline bench press, Bob.
Yeah. Now I'm old and my bones are falling apart and starting to hurt.
Came for Parkmom thinking it was actual mom. No, Parka is not an actual mother.
No, I get that question so often.
So where does the mom in Parkmom come from?
So when I was a kid, I wanted to sign up for Club Penguin, and I did it with my mother. And I took that, you need to sign up with your parent shit personally. So I asked her, and you had to come up with a username, and I walked away, and she had put in Parkmom, because my name's Parker, and she entered it without my permission. I was so pissed. I was so upset.
That's unreal that you kept that though.
Well, and then like 4 or 5 years later, I'm trying to set up a PlayStation Network account, and I tried to do like the Assassin XXX like 3 thing, and nothing worked. And I just tried Parkmom, worked right away.
Damn.
So, it just carried over. I get the handle for basically everything besides Twitter, my one bane of my existence.
Love it. Yeah, well, that's why we have Wicked Good Games on Twitter instead of Wicked Good Gaming, because it's one character too short. All right, everybody smile for the camera so I can take a screenshot, please.
Maybe I can reach out to my good pal Elon to see if we can get one more character added on. Just for us.
Oh.
Something just for us.
Only for our Twitter Blue subscribers.
Okay. That fucking wig.
It's so itchy.
It looks itchy.
And it's fucking flaking everywhere.
Ugh.
I had to text my girlfriend today and be like, listen, if you come over and you see blonde hair on the ground, this is why.
Actually, funny story. We were hanging out with a couple buddies this past weekend, and they hired a woman to like clean at their house, and we have a cleaning lady too, and it's fucking great. It's like the best $150 I spend every 2 weeks supporting small businesses. It's literally just one lady. And so they were like, yeah, we were paying this lady, and we found out that she was doing her own laundry at our house.
What?
And she was like, we would have been fine with it, but like she never said anything. So far be it for like, imagine my surprise when I find another woman's panties in my laundry. And she was like, I like immediately checked like the dog cameras that we have in the house, and sure enough, like you can see the cleaning lady like bringing her own bag of laundry in. But I was like, holy shit,
Brilliant move.
that is fucking
So
crazy.
bold. That's bold.
But hey, you know, I don't want to.
Oh my god.
I don't want to bleach my stairs.
Dude, my forehead's gonna break out so bad after this. Holy.
Yeah, was that like a $5 wig?
Yeah, and it hurts.
It looks like I don't even know what it looks like, but it looks like something. All right, we're gonna get recording here. On this episode of Not Into the Gaming Podcast, we have a absolutely electrifying debate between Dr. Bob and Parkmom. We are Tiggy and I are going to be moderating. We have several hard-hitting questions that we're going to be going over, and we will go over all the rules. So make sure that you sit down, you strap yourselves in for the gaming presidential debate of the century right now on episode 402 of Not Into the Gaming Podcast.
If this is great, let's make this a fucking series. Yeah.
Finally get a break.
All right.
Yo, welcome back to Not Into the Gaming Podcast, and welcome to the first ever 2024 Gaming Presidential Debate. I am your co-host, Papa Dom, here, live, direct, and handsome on these internet streets. And before we get into our debaters, our contestants, our participants this evening, I, of course, would be remiss if I didn't mention my colleague, U.S. military active duty. Of course, you know him, you love him. Tiggy Nation, how are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic today, Dom, and I tell you, we got a heavyweight bout on our hands tonight.
We do.
And we're so excited to hit the internet streets with these two hard competitors and these two top-tier arguers, I might add as well. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun time.
I totally agree, Tiggy, and Q, thank you so much for the sub. We have some absolutely excellent topics to cover tonight. And before we get into the rules, we want to introduce our two debaters, co-host of Not Into the Gaming Podcast, a man who has never watched anime in his entire life, but who claims to know everything about everything, and who will argue with a wall if you let him, or if he runs out of people on Earth to argue with before that. Dr. Bob, how are you?
You know, Dom, I'm just going to go ahead and say, what an entrance. That was fantastic. You are one hell of a moderator. Tiggy, I hope you can also back that up when we eventually take the stage. But I'm doing wonderful. Just another night debating my way up to the video game presidency. I'm ready to accept the throne.
Absolutely. And happy to have you here. And of course, returning guest. This is his first full episode. Previously made a brief appearance. Previously on a previous episode of Not Into the Gaming Podcast, social media manager for FlyQuest, and also self-proclaimed skillful arguer. Parkmom, how are you doing?
Good. I have to say, I grew up in the Call of Duty lobbies. I could argue with basically anyone. Nothing really phases me these days. Working social media, you kind of have to have a thick skin, and you have to know how to take it with a grain of salt. I'm super excited for this because Bob, gotta be honest with you, his best work is far behind him, and the new youth and generation is here to stay. And I hope he can keep up.
Wow. Some very strong remarks already out of the gate, so I can tell that we need to lay down the law, lay down the rules here. Since I am hosting this Discord call, I do have the ability to mute if necessary, but I want to keep things fair and balanced as always. So, we are officially in the no spin zone. So what we're going to be doing is Tiggy and I have prepared a slate of topics for each debater. Park, since you are the guest, you can choose who will go first, and then we will alternate for the. We have 4 or 5 questions here, and we'll alternate from there on who goes first. For your initial response, you'll have up to 5 minutes. Your opponent will then have 5 minutes to rebuttal, and then we'll give you each a 1-minute closing remark, back and forth.
All right. I think I'm gonna have to give it to Bob to start. To be a little nice, give him a little bit of an advantage to begin with.
All right.
That might be the biggest mistake you'll ever make.
Any questions from either participant before we go on? Or
Nope.
Tiggy, any thoughts from you before we go on here?
I'm putting the line at 2.5 mutes for Bob, and I think an even 1 mute for Parker. That's going to be the line setting. 2.5 for Bob, 1 for Parker.
All right. Perfect. Well, Tiggy, I'll let you go ahead and deliver the first question. Bob, you will have 5 minutes on the clock as soon as Tiggy finishes saying, "Bob, you have 5 minutes." I will start the timer. Tiggy, why don't you do the honors here?
All right, we're going to start it off real hot and heavy with Parker being a part of FlyQuest and Bob being just, a fan of everything. Now, we're going to start out with franchising and esports. Good or bad?
Tiggy, I hate to tell you how to do your job, but I think you're supposed to end with, Bob, you have 5 minutes.
Well, I don't know. I know your mouth's moving a lot, but your ears might not be working because Dom did just say, Bob, you have 5 minutes.
Oh, Dom, I apologize. Great moderator, didn't hear that. Franchising when it comes to esports, I think, if we can get billionaires to come around across the country to just build stadiums, we need more stadiums. We build stadiums, we put esports teams inside of those stadiums, we put asses in seats, we get hot dogs flowing left and right, we get Miller Lights flowing left and right. We're making hand over fist money left and right. Esports franchising, I gotta say, once I get into office, it'll be one of the first things that I take on personally. Getting an esports team with a stadium, 250,000 seats in every stadium for every major country or every major city across the country. Do we have any follow-up question to that?
No. Would you like to yield the rest of your time?
I yield.
All right. Well, can I ask a question to Bob before I begin to start off my response to that?
We'll allow it.
Bob, can you tell me what happened to the Overwatch League?
Well, what happened was I wasn't in office at the time, and the Overwatch League crumbled.
And the Overwatch League, yes or no question, was a franchise league?
Again, who was in office as the video game president at the time? It was not I.
I think the deflection speaks for itself here, folks. Look, we can see a multitude of reasons why franchising in certain aspects of esports isn't the best thing for the esports ecosystem as a whole. If you look at one of my favorite esports, CSGO, has only ever in its lifetime had one franchise league, which was Flashpoint, which subsequently failed. Now, everything past that has been open or direct invite at times to certain tournaments, but most of the time people can qualify for these style of tournaments. Counter-Strike as a whole as an esport is a perfect example of why we should keep it the way it is and not try to do franchising all over the place. I think also the problem that you're having is you are going under the belief that esports and sports can be combined in a way that are both like reflective. What I'm trying to say with that is you're like, we're going to build these stadiums. Build them where? LA, Chicago?
Stadium,
No,
stadiums,
I'm talking. Sorry.
Stadiums.
Yeah, I'm talking. Thank you. All right. I am talking about the fact that esports is spread out so thin in certain countries that we can't just build up stadiums and expect to get Manchester-sized fans to show up for certain events. All right, that's why certain events need to be held across the country at certain times and certain locations. IEM Cologne, IEM Katowice, IEM Sydney, LCS Finals, which is being held in LA. If you're looking at other events like majors, they're always at certain points being held with enough time and prep, but it is not, and I mean by no means, it is not at one stadium just built for esports. We saw that with the Overwatch League, and just like Bob and this debate, it exploded. And that's all there is to it. We're not going to be seeing franchising the way it is. We should stick primarily to the way like Counter-Strike, and I'd say the other esports like Rocket League is like another one off the top of my head, and yeah, that's the only one I have as well.
Great answers. Bob, do you have a counter?
Stadiums, hot dogs, Miller Lights flowing. You're going to try to take that away from the American people because you think that we have to follow the Counter-Strike format. There is only one Counter-Strike, okay? There is no game that comes close to Counter-Strike. What I'm going to do when I'm in office is stadium, 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 stadium everywhere. Every major city. We're going to build walls around these stadiums, so once we get the people in, they're never going to leave. They're going to have to spend at least $2,000 before they can leave the stadium. Easy money for everyone involved.
What game are you going to put in the stadium for people to watch?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Every game. Every single game. Just like how the TD Garden has both the Boston Celtics and the Boston Bruins, we're going to put in every game in the Boston Stake.com Stadium Center, and whatever game we want is going to take place there.
Bob, just a clarifying question. Are you suggesting that every major metropolitan city has a multi-esports facility similar to like Blizzard Arena, which was the hub for...
Subsequently failed.
Is that what you're proposing?
Yes, and if they don't, we will build it.
Understood. And now, just another clarifying question. You do still have about a minute and 45 seconds left of time remaining. What would be your proposal if we weren't going to be franchised, if we are or are not franchising in esports? Bob, your proposal is that we build these stadiums. Where would those finances come from in order to create these venues? And Parker, if we aren't building these major franchise stadiums, how would you allocate those funds otherwise? Bob, I'll let you go. Go right ahead.
Well, clearly there's only one right answer in how we're going to acquire these funds. If we're having franchise leagues, we're not just going to have North American players. We're going to have players wanting to come from all over the world. And when we have players from other countries coming into our country, the simple answer is their country has to pay. Why would we have to pay for this? They're sending their players to play it with us. Just like how the NBA has it, everybody from around the world wants to play in the NBA, right? The greatest league in basketball history.
World champions.
That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be like here in America when I'm in office.
So just and another kind of like clarifying point there for the players that are currently being sent to play in NA esports, you're saying that they're not sending their best currently.
So could you repeat the question one more time?
You're saying that right now, currently, other countries who are sending esports players to play in NA are not sending their best.
Is that a real question?
I'm asking you.
Of course they're not. You want to know why? Because we don't have fucking stadiums in every single city. That's why.
Understood. Parker?
Really? Wow.
I think North America actually has some of the best players. I don't think we need to take from other countries. I think we actually have a lot of homegrown talent that have shown to dominate the leagues that they're in through and through.
Clearly, somebody's never watched Counter-Strike before.
I'm sorry. We have
or
some
League
of the
of
best...
Legends before.
Bob, you're getting muted.
Besides those two... All right. Thank you. So besides that, we have FGC, we have Rocket League, We have a number of to Call of Duty, which I'm sure you're more than familiar with, Bob. We have a bunch of titles across the NA platform that are filled with NA talent that have always been dominating their leagues across the world. It just so happened that two of the bigger titles like League and Counter-Strike, we're not as dominating as much. But look at the biggest title right now in FPS shooters. It's Valorant. All right. And we're dominating there in North America. Sentinels, and then the other people that people always seem to forget about. All right. But the point being, you asked me how are we gonna like get the money? Monetization, content creators. We need to really just chill out at times and make sure that we're always putting forth our best effort to attract the eyes and then having the money come in.
Youthful. What a cute and youthful way to look at this great question we have presented by our moderators. Adorable.
Now, folks, just before we move on, because our next topic will relate to this one, 1 minute on the clock for closing statements on this. Bob, we'll let you go first. Go ahead.
Stadiums, baby. That's all we need, and we ain't paying for it. I yield my time.
All right, a whole 6 seconds, Parker.
I think at times franchising can be good if it's implemented in a way that is actually beneficial for the esport and the esports community. At times we have seen multitude of very different styles of franchising, and the best way that we can make franchising better is doing it in a way that is not counterproductive to the ecosystem. Right now, what we've been seeing is the best style of esports tournaments has been coming from where it's not franchising. I think there's a system of franchising that we can actually work off of. We just need to get there. Where that perfect system is, where that will be, or what it is, I don't know. But when I get in office, I will be sending an entire team to go and do R&D research to get that perfect system of franchising.
Thank you both. I will now put a 1 minute poll in the chat to allow the viewers to decide who won that topic. And everybody, please do vote. Thank you both for your absolutely exhilarating candor here. I appreciate the majority of the time being spent respectfully and constructively, and that's what the people need. Tiggy, any of your thoughts? Any thoughts from you on our first topic here?
Well, I hate to say, I think they both brought up very valid points. We're working a little real estate on one end and another one with a lot more reason. So two sides of the fence. And I'm very interested to see how the chat's going to vote, how the people are going to vote, because that's who will govern us ultimately.
Agreed. And, I think ultimately I can see both sides of this. I think that franchising is, for me, I've been very pro franchising in the past. I have thought that that's an easier way for people who are not traditionally into esports to find a home and an identity with an organization, because they are kind of tied to a city, even though those players aren't necessarily from there, or might not necessarily even play there 100% of the time. I think the CDL kind of got close to that, but still didn't really feel like there was a home field advantage unless you were Optic, in which your home field advantage was just everywhere because there's Optic fans all over the place. And the chat has voted 4-1 in favor of Parker for winning that first topic. We're going to take a brief break so I can get another beer from the fridge. I'll let you guys catch a breather here and talk amongst yourselves if you'd like.
Black Myth Wukong, arguably one of the greatest games ever released. Only issue is, I'm pretty sure it's melting my GPU fans. Truly a phenomenal gaming experience.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one, Bob. It seems like they've really been putting their best foot forward with this new title. I will say this is coming from Tencent, the game itself. They could be taking over for AAA titles in the near future.
You want to know who's paying for those stadiums? Tencent, baby.
We should make Tencent pay for everything. They have enough money, and we're back. Thank you all so much for tuning in and for staying tuned in. If you're just joining us, our first topic was about franchising in esports. Bob, very pro franchising. Parker, not pro franchising. We're gonna move right along here. Just given the direction of the conversation before, our next topic is that North America has been very historically mediocre to poor on the international esports stage. When it comes to games like Valorant, there has been some success, but largely with the world's biggest, most viewed, and most prestigious esports, such as CSGO, League of Legends, and others, there has largely not been a great track record of success. And many still view NA as the little brother that in a region that's still in its infancy when compared to other regions. How can NA esports become more competitive on the world stage, and how far do you think we are from that? Parker, since Bob went first, I'm going to go ahead and give you 5 minutes on the clock.
So, just for some clarification, is this regarding just League of Legends, or is this as
In general, but if you'd like to tie it to a specific esport, you're more than welcome.
I don't think there's anything wrong with North American esports competitors. I don't think we have a problem. I think we actually show resilience and a style of competitive gaming that can't really be seen throughout much of the world. What is amazing about North American esports is we play a multitude of games, and that gives us a multitude of people who are really good at the game. Just to give you an example, I mentioned this earlier: Street Fighter, Counter-Strike, Guilty Gear, Dota 2, Mortal Kombat, Call of Duty, Smash, Rainbow Six, and Quake, to name a few. We are champions in these games. We are high-level competitive gamers, and this notion that we need to, bring in better competitors from around the world, we don't need to at all, because we have the best competitors right here, homegrown soil, grass-fed players right here. Nothing to say past that. And so I never liked this notion. League of Legends, we definitely have our problems, but I think we've been seeing the past couple of years that the skill gap is closing. EU, so not what they used to be. All right, the international appearance. Besides, I don't know, something happened in MSI 2024. I wasn't there for it. Besides that, it's been great for national appearance for NA at League of Legends. All right, nothing to really worry about. I'm not that panicked. I think other places around the world should be panicked when North America shows up at any esports competition. That's all I have to say.
That level of North American patriotism is enough to bring a tear to my eye. Thank you, Parker. Bob, your response?
Fully agree. Absolutely couldn't agree anymore. But what I agree with, however, is the fact that, yes, of course, as Americans, we do have the talent. It's just young. We haven't nurtured it yet. And you want to know how I'm going to do that when I get into presidency? Here, I'll tell you. The other day, was watching one of my favorite historic biopics, Rocky IV. I want to do what the Russians did with Ivan Drago with our children who are interested in esports. I want to put them through rigorous training regimes to make sure that by the time they are of age, they are ready to compete on a national scale. I yield my time.
Parker, right back to you. The second part of that question is, seeing as obviously both of you are very adamant that NA esports is actually in a good place and is continually improving, what steps would you take that we're not already doing to continue developing that young fledgling talent that we have and helping us to grow to maybe accelerate the pace in which NA is advancing in esports that they have traditionally not been so great in?
I think we need to fix the ecosystem a little bit in certain ways. I think the pipeline currently is starting off in your parents' basement, going pro, going tier 2, and then going college. Seems a little backwards to me, if I'm being honest. I think we need to reverse that, step back, and we need to start with starting in your parents' basement, going to college, collegiate, or going tier 2 and then going pro. It should not be the other way around. I think we also need to be fundamentally supporting tier 2 leagues. I think in certain esports, you can see that the tier 2 system has fundamentally collapsed, and that's no part be it from like anyone other than developers and other people letting it slide. So we need to put our best foot forward by also making sure that the tier 2 and collegiate scenes are staying afloat, because if they're not, the fundamentally we don't have enough players. And this slides back to franchising. When you franchise, you at times are making the pool for pro play way smaller. So I would also make sure that we're taking care of our tier 2 players, our collegiate players, or even our tier 3 players at the end of the day. If we're not doing that, we're not creating the best players we can get.
Bob, your response?
Again, fully agree. Let's get the colleges on board, right? What we're going to do when I'm in office is we're going to get
idea of your own.
What we're going to do when I'm in office, right? We're going to get all the colleges on board. We're going to have esports departments in which we're going to aerosol Adderall into the rooms of everybody playing and training for video games. This is my future for NA esports, okay? It's simple. We put Adderall into an aerosol form and we just pump it through the vents inside of these collegiate rooms where all of these players are training. We take them from our Ivan Drago Rocky 4 program, we put them into college, and we fuel them with Adderall. Thank you.
All right. All right.
Look, I understand that the Call of Duty scene is totally fine doing that, but we actually need to wean off the Adderall a little bit. I think that Adderall abuse is actually not the greatest thing in the world. I think we actually need to be doing healthier things. And Bob, you were talking about this earlier. We need players working out. We need players weightlifting, and you're trying to pump them full of Adderall.
Not only am I going to pump them full of
Adderall over here.
Not only am I going to pump
Hold
them
on,
full of
hold
Adderall,
on. You're both getting
I'm
a
gonna
mute.
pump them full of steroids too. What was your favorite era in baseball? Come on now.
What is
The
this? The
steroids era.
1920s? Who's watching baseball?
It does. That's why.
All right. You're both getting them. You're both getting them until we cool down here. Now, we're gonna get this under control. This is a civilized debate. All right. And I don't know what's coming out of the ceiling fans in your respective apartments, but let's just cool the jets here.
Yeah.
Lot of people in the chat very excited about the Adderall proposition, Bob. So you may be onto something there. But obviously we need to take the health of our athletes seriously, especially the young ones. Tiggy, what are your takeaways from this before we get into closing statements?
Well, it was interesting to see they were both on the same side to some degree. This is a debate, but it was good that we're seeing two sides come together for, one would think, the greater good. It took quite a turn towards the end there. Someone jumped off the wrong exit, apparently. But I think they're making both valid points. I think physical exercise should be implemented more in esports. We'll take, hypothetical GOAT, maybe by the chance of League of Legends with Faker. The guy weighs 75 pounds, dripping wet. And, he's not the king for me. I want someone ripped out of their mind, being able to actually do a couple push-ups. So I would like to see more athletes exercising more. I think it will help them cognitively as well, and just better all-around healthier athletes.
All right. And closing thoughts, gentlemen. Parker, you go right ahead. You got a minute on the clock.
I think I proved that I don't really need to do much of a closing argument with this. Bob just wants to send Adderall through the veins of our players. I don't want to do that. That sounds like a little
right,
bit.
I do.
Sorry, I'm talking. I know you want to go on a baseball tangent right now, but let me have my closing remarks. I think our talent is amazing the way they are. We just need to give the steps through the fundamentals of Tier 1, Tier 2, Collegiate, even Tier 3, and that's my plans when I become video game president.
Thank you, Parker. Bob, 1 minute on the clock.
This is absolutely absurd. Let me tell you, you want to elect somebody as video game president who doesn't respect America's greatest pastime of baseball? Come on now. The greatest era in baseball, the steroid era. The greatest era in NA esports is the Adderall era, and it's going to come when I am in office. Get the colleges involved. Get Ivan Drago's Russian experiments over into America. Get it all involved. We're going to be number one. We'll be on top once I'm in office.
Thank you, Bob. And we are once again going to take a brief intermission. 1 minute poll is going into the chat now. Please do vote on who you think won topic number 2, NA esports advancement, before we move right along. Adderall, Sig, steroids. I'm on board. Make America grind their teeth again. We're seeing a lot of support for the Adderall position here.
Also taking a quick water break. I'll be right back. Thank you. Moderator.
Absolutely. And while our contestants take their water breaks, Tiggy, just want to pick your brain here. You know, some great points all around, and I do really appreciate the NA forward conversation. You know, I'm very glad that both of our contestants have confidence in NA and, you know, truly do believe that we have some incredible potential and some incredible existing talent who are winning across a multitude of platforms. What are your overall thoughts? I mean, does this kind of increase your confidence in NA, or what are your kind of thoughts here?
It was good to see, and I mean, we have 2 Goliaths of NA gaming here, so obviously they're going to back their guys. And, you know, me being an active duty military service member, I love to see that. You know, it makes me get up early, bright and early, when the rooster crows. So I'm very happy to see that, you know, a lot of NA pride is here. I do feel that maybe we've heard we're so close. We're making gains. And it feels a little like 1980 Olympics, you know? Like, you know, we're making strides. We're not losing as bad. But one of these times, maybe 9 times, but not this time, we're going to get that win. And when it happens, it's going to be glorious. But I want it so bad. I want that win now. I want it bad. And I think everyone wants that win bad for NA. So I think we need to keep working until we get that big major championship.
Agreed. Thank you, Tiggy. Thank you for that. Very insightful. And Tiggy, we're going to send it right over to you for topic number 3. I know that we had talked about a couple of them, and there's a few in the hat here, so I'll let you go ahead and decide which one that you'd like to fire off. But we have a number here that we can go over to.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we're going to kick it off the esports for a little second. Okay. We're going to go into content creation, a topic of much debate in the streaming realm and community. So the streaming platform Kick last year recently brought together a program that is offering a minimum $16 hourly wage on top of their 95/5 split with the subscription revenue. Now, Bob's going to lead us off here. Bob, what are your thoughts on Kick minimum wage trying to you know, offer their streamers a little more tangible and you know, stable way to keep streaming on their platforms? Bob, 5 minutes.
Of course, if you're looking for somebody as a presidential video game candidate, you want somebody who appeals to everybody. And I'm here working for the middle class, okay? I want the middle class streamers and content creators to be getting the absolute best opportunities that they possibly could. And that's why I don't like that whole monopoly that Twitch has over the streaming platforms. I like seeing competition. I like seeing Twitch. I like seeing YouTube. I like seeing people comment to my aunt on Facebook saying, hey, why don't you check out this cute little pic? And I think Kick is doing a great job. I think Kick is coming forward, and not just because I have billions invested in stake, but simply because I like the fact that they're trying to give people a salary. And that's what I'm here to do. Give the middle class streamers a salary. Give them something to live off of. You know, I fully support Kick, and I'm here to see them strive.
Okay, so just to follow up, you want to help create more jobs.
Absolutely,
Kick. That's what
absolutely. When I'm the president of the United States Video Game Association, all I want to do is create jobs. We look around, you look left, you look right, and then you look behind you upside down between your legs. What's happening? People are losing jobs left and right. I want to make jobs. I want to make millions of jobs.
Okay, thank you, Bob. We'll throw it over to Parker there. Parker, 5 minutes. Kick minimum wage $16 an hour for some certain creators is a good for streaming. 5 minutes on the clock.
I mean, aren't there certain requirements to get that $16 an hour on Kick?
Yes, it is a certain program that you need to be invited to. In a sense, they are bringing in more and more creators as time goes on, but initially it was just a certain amount, and now since then they've added more and more to it.
This just sounds like an overinflated affiliate program for, like, you know, the Kick people of the world. I like the competition coming in from the streaming platforms. It's actually really great. It's really awesome. I think though it sends the wrong message of that you can just do this and you can just make money from it. I think people need to come back down to earth and make sure the reality of content creation is not easy. My favorite podcast, Wicked Good Gaming, had to start from the trenches, had to work their way up from nothing. And, you know, they had to make it.
I'm sorry, what's the name of that podcast?
Wicked Good Games.
Oh, that's cute.
We'll allow the interruption there. Continue, Parker.
Fair enough. The point being is content creators have to work their way up from nothing. And I think this sends the wrong incentive idea of, oh, you can be a five viewer Andy and, you know, make it as a Kick streamer. I think that sends a really negative reinforcement of things. I don't like the idea of just sending $16. I think that's actually going to increase inflation for a lot of ways. We're actually going to have too many Kick streamers. We're going to be having too many people doing that. We need more plumbers here, folks. All right? We need plumbers. We need electricians. All right? We don't need more influencers. We don't need more content creators.
Please stop streaming.
My 5 minutes is not up, sir. My
Hold on,
5 minutes is not
Hold
up.
on, hold on.
What are you doing here?
My
Why are you
5
even
minutes
here?
is not up.
Time out
Hold
for
on.
Bob. Time out for Bob.
My 5 minutes is not up. I have a hole in my ceiling in my bathroom. It hasn't been fixed because the guy who is supposed to fix it is now trying to Kick stream. All right? And that's fine. He can make it if he wants. But I don't know. I think this idea, I didn't even know about this program until you just mentioned it. It seems really convoluted. It seems like just an idea of trying to get people onto Kick. If you want to go into the argument on is Kick going to be a stable thing, that could be another topic of discussion. But this just seems like another marketing ploy on Kick's part. I'll say that.
Ooh.
Okay. Thank you, Parker. Bob, would you like to counter here?
Is this not the video game presidential debate? Because to me, it seems like my opponent is trying to win the hearts of plumbers. I'm trying to win the hearts of gamers, okay? Gamers, streamers, content creators, everybody out there who's doing editing for YouTube thumbnails. Listen, I am your man. I am here for you. If Kick wants to come forward and give you a little bit of a salary, I'm all for it. And you know what? I think you've earned it, and I think you deserve it. And guess what? I hope that hole in your bathroom stays that way, because I want to watch somebody on Kick in a hot tub. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you, Bob. Parker, any rebuttal there or any closing statement here?
I think you're looking over the fact that gamers are hard working class citizens at the end of the day. Gamers are everywhere. Your mom's a gamer. My mom's a gamer. Everyone's a gamer. Everyone, you know, plumbers are gamers.
Don't you dare
At the end of
fucking
the
talk
day.
about my mother like that.
We will.
You
allow
know
that as
she
well.
plays Candy Crush. You know she plays Candy Crush. The point being, the comment wasn't supposed to attack plumbers, but the idea that everyone's a gamer at the end of the day, but there are some people who don't want to be Kick streamers. I definitely lost this topic, though. I will admit that. This was not my best performance.
All right, we're moving right along. So, folks, once again, poll is going in the chat. So please do vote on who won topic number 3. We are going to put 1 minute on that poll clock right now. Closing thoughts. And that was a timer I forgot to pause. I don't even know where that went. But Tiggy, your thoughts on the Kick incentive program and our contestants positions.
Well, I tell you, I mean, Bob is reaching out to all the people there. I mean, he's really going to hold Richard Nixon, man of the people, peace signs up, and you got to respect it. You got to respect that strategy. I think Parker had the better answer of, is this just a marketing ploy by Kick to just get him on the Kick team, and they're trying to curate to the masses that are going to try and get to that level so that they can have a stable income, maybe instead of learning a skill to fix a ceiling. Could be a little personal, though. Could be a little personal issue he's dealing with that's showing a little emotion here on the big stage.
Yeah, and it seems like the viewers agree with you. We, Bob, that is your second consecutive topic that you've won according to our viewers. I'm conflicted on this topic because, on one hand, it is always good to see a platform incentivizing creators to try to kind of go out on a limb and make these things happen. But in an era where, kids are growing up and they're like, hey, I want to be a YouTuber or I want to be an influencer, I think it is sending the wrong message. And I think that, we're putting these delusions of grandeur into people's head where, it is an incredibly oversaturated industry that's incredibly difficult to break into already. And by throwing out some minimum wage there that you could probably make more money flipping burgers, you are sending the wrong message that, hey, like maybe we can do the bare minimum and go from there. But, you also might just, if you do stay on that platform, you're probably just going to end up like twerking for poker chips. So regardless, we're going to be moving right along here. We have, I believe, 2 topics left, or 3 topics left. Let me take a peek here. 1, 2, 3. We have 2 topics left. I am going to go ahead and take this next one, and then Tiggy, you can have the grand finale here. Some of the most popular games in the last 3 to 5 years have been either productions of From Software or inspired by them. We have had Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Ghost of Tsushima, which is probably less so a Souls-like, more kind of a Souls-light. The Star Wars Jedi games, Elden Ring, of course, and now most recently Black Myth Wukong, which have absolutely dominated Steam charts, have captivated audiences, and have become some of the most popular and most talked about single-player experiences in gaming. My question to you both is, are Souls-likes ruining or oversaturating the single-player gaming market where they're becoming the only desirable kind of flavor of the week or flavor of the era genre or subgenre that can become popular? Or is there still room for other single-player games to make their way? Bob, since Parker went first last time, we'll go to you first. You have 5 minutes.
I think that's a fantastic question. Thank you again for it. Let me be the first to say, I love me a good Souls clone, right? I love me a good Souls clone. And the reason why they're so successful is because FromSoft has catered to the gamers that love their franchises. They take the feedback from their players and they re-implement it into the next project that they're willing to do. And guess what? I am the candidate for you because that's how I'm going to operate when I'm in office. I'm going to take your feedback and I'm going to push it forward for the future, just like From Software does. But when it comes to the totality of, is From Software games and Souls clones oversaturating the market? I think no. I think there's still plenty of room for other genres to expand and explore. And let me be the first to say, what's the easiest way to do that? You go back to RPGs. And what's the easiest way to fix the RPG genre? Final Fantasy, make it turn-based again. Thank God, baby. Praise ya. Needless to say, there is so much room for other genres to expand. It all depends on who starts it. When you take a look at Breath of the Wild, how many Breath of the Wild clones did we get after that? A dozen? 2 dozen? None of them lived up to Breath of the Wild. Black Myth Wukong lives up to Elden Ring. It lives up to Dark Souls. And the reason for that is the team put their heart and soul into it, just like I'm going to put my heart and soul into this candidacy. Thank you. I yield my time.
I think one big problem that you're having with video games these days is it's not an oversaturation, it's a lack of commitment from publishers wanting to release good stuff that's going to take time. I think Souls-like has just become this new genre that they're coming from developers that are wanting to put in the effort. That being said, I hear no mention of like Baldur's Gate, which is a turn-based game. These seem to have forgotten that came out in the last 5 years. That is amazing. There are a plethora of video games, and you know where those video games are? Small indie companies, small indie titles, and the small working man that you seem not to want to help, Bob. Seems like you want to help the big corporations once more. I want to help the small indie developers developing these small, beautiful titles that we are seeing come out. You know, we see the meme of it costs over $100,000 to get a Gamescom ad. All right, I don't want that. I want to promote the small little guy games. All right, that's where we need to start focusing. But this argument of oversaturation of Souls-like, the reason why we're seeing oversaturation a bit is because they're producing the best games right now, along with the indie developers. I yield back my time.
Thank you, Parker. I appreciate that. So just for a clarifying point here, you're saying that in terms of single-player games, you need to shift our focus from these Souls-likes and people should be paying more attention to smaller indie games.
No, I don't think so at all. I think we should, keep celebrating these Souls-likes, but also keep celebrating indie small titles.
All right. Gotcha. 1 minute closing statement, a little rebuttal / closing statement, Bob.
I think it's adorable that you're trying to attack me in my nature of not wanting to support small indie studios who produce some of my favorite games. I think that's adorable when you were praising Black Myth Wukong created by Tencent. I agree. I think the game is fantastic as well. But could you perchance name even 3 indie developed Souls clones? Because I feel as though you probably could not.
Did you name 3?
I could. Let's see. Steel Rising, Lies of P, The Surge 2. Would you like me to keep going?
Lies of P was actually such a poorly rated game. Are you actually no?
Lies of P. First of all, received 80s across the board, which I truly believe was
if you want to keep
should have been in the 90s.
If you want to keep looking at your other monitor for small indie titles to tell you like Souls-like games, that's fine.
I'm looking at my Steam library, the ones which I've completed. Thank you very much.
If you want to like look those up, that's fine. But let's not pretend Smalls of P, Lies of P, whatever you want to say, wasn't a good game.
It was a fantastic game. It was an absolutely incredible game. And anybody who tries to say otherwise clearly has no idea what they're talking about when it comes to video games.
Bob,
and that is not what you want.
Is your nose growing? Because I think you're telling a lie.
Would you look
Folks,
at that?
We have that was 1 minute. I can't even remember whose turn that was because you guys were both talking, but I think Parker, it's closing statements for you.
I think there's a lot of great small indie titles for when it comes to Souls-like games. Bob's Steam library, whatever he likes to look at, that's fine. But there are a bunch of great titles that we can look at, not just Souls-like. Let's all support the little guys. All right, everybody? Let's not support big corporations anymore. Let's do the right thing.
Big Dark Souls is a big, big FromSoft is a, So you're saying that big Souls-like is the issue, and we really need to be kind of supporting, the more medium difficulty games.
My headset's cutting out. We'll have to go to the next topic.
Okay. Folks, I'm going to put we're going to do another very brief intermission here. I'm going to put a 1 minute timer in the chat. Please do vote so that you can decide who won topic number 4, Parker or Bob. Now, as we go along here, Tiggy, obviously we'll get kind of some closing thoughts from you. This fucking timer keeps going off, and I literally don't know what timer it is anymore. I set like 9 of them. I forgot to stop a few of them. You know, I gotta say that I kind of disagree with both of them. I think that we have there's a very skewed take my birth control. That's what I'm doing. So there is a very skewed, I think, attention span when it comes to extremely difficult games like Elden Ring, like Lies of P, like Black Myth Wukong, where they will hold audiences' attention more because they're hard. They want to find different ways to beat them. Hey, let's watch somebody beat Elden Ring on a DDR pad, and it's just become I think it's kind of pushing a lot of other single player games out of the conversation. We have there needs to be a little bit more room for growth, and not every new AAA single player game needs to be a Souls-like. And I'm not saying that because I don't want to play them. I'm just saying that we also had this era in kind of like the mid 2000s where everything was either a third person shooter or a GTA clone. And I feel like we're trending in that direction now, where like everything is a Souls-like. So that's my personal take on it. Tiggy, what do you take away from that topic?
Yeah, I agree with you there, Dom. I thought it was very interesting on the argument style that both of them had here. I can't believe that Parker tried to turn around on Bob to say, "Hey, name me three."
I know he hit you with the okey doke there. Bob came out
clones, and I mean, if we know anything about Dr. Bob, we know he's got a backlog as long as my drops on the golf course, which seems to be never ending. So
then he should have brought it up.
And it was a very good argument, and I think I'm excited for this round 5. I think they're coming with their best stuff, and they're both finding their strategy.
And this will be the tiebreaker here because it's now 2-2 for these topics, and topic number 5, Tiggy, goes right over to you. And this will be our grand finale here. So Tiggy.
All right, so we're gonna start here. Well, I think we just started with nope. We're going to start with Bob again. Bob, back to Bob for round 5.
I started last time.
Did he start last time? We'll have to cut that. Okay, we're going back to Parker for round 5 after winning round 4. So Parker gets to go first here, and the last and final question and topic of debate is, if you could bring back one franchise to revive and reboot right now, which one would you choose? How would you do it? Parker, 5 minutes.
This is a really tough question. I think there are a multitude of old franchises. It depends on what you want to say here, though, because I would really love to say, and this isn't my answer, just giving a couple examples. The original Battlefront, the Star Wars Battlefront games, if they were actually made correctly, those could be a really good reboot. I really also like to think of the Jack and Dexter games on the PlayStation 2. Phenomenal series. I remember playing those as a kid. We've seen a couple reboots that just haven't gone the way. Off the top of my head, this is a really tough question because I'm trying to think of my childhood. I would say like the Mafia series, because that just also been rebooted, but that was also painfully rebooted with the third. I think something that we need to do when we also do these reboots and when we're thinking of a correct answer for a reboot is making sure, are we putting the heart and passion of the original when the game first came out, are we putting that into the reboot? If I'm going to have to pick a reboot off the top of my head, I would have to say, it's a good question. I'd probably say Jack and Dexter. I had a really fun time as a kid playing those on the PlayStation 2. If you never had the chance, I highly recommend it. It was a small series, I'd say, but it always had a lot of love. It always had a lot of hype around it. And I would just want to make sure the story stayed the same. We made sure the passion and everything along with it when it comes to that series.
Okay, great. You going to forfeit for the rest of your time? You still got a little bit more to make any claim?
No, I'll forfeit it.
Okay, forfeit. I like that. Strong answer. Over to Bob. And I feel like he's going to want all this time here.
Let me take you back to my childhood. Okay. Christmas morning, I wake up. What do I see underneath the tree? A brand new N64. Me, my two older sisters, screaming at the top of our lungs. Hooray, this is it. We finally get to experience the Nintendo 64. There is one game that I would love to see come back, although it's still so relevant today. Ocarina of Time is arguably the greatest video game ever made. I think we've seen Nintendo take The Legend of Zelda far beyond its heights. Link has gone to the skies. Link can now build fucking robots in Breath of the Wild 2. What is that shit? I don't fucking know. Why don't we go back to Legend of Zelda roots? Take us back to the N64 days. Me, my sisters, huddled around a big wooden CRTV, watching while I scream and cry just at the entrance of the Spirit Temple because the wolves howling scared me to death. I think we need to scale back down Legend of Zelda. Bring us back into Twilight Princess days, Ocarina of Time days, Majora's Mask days. Okay? I want to see something smaller scale, but bigger heart. I yield my time.
Okay. Okay. Right,
Tiggy,
right about the same part. Yep.
could you restate the question?
So I will restate the question: is one franchise you would want to revive or reboot right now, and how would you do it?
Ocarina of Time is Legends of Zelda, no?
It sure is.
Am I missing the question? You didn't answer it.
I want to see the
You wanna
Legend of
see-
Zelda
you wanna see-
rebooted again
You want to see a
Into a s-
remaster?
into
You
a
want-
smaller form with
No.
a bigger heart.
No, Bob.
Smaller form, bigger heart.
No, Bob. The
Smaller
question
form,
was,
bigger
which
heart.
franchise would you like to see rebooted? If I'm not mistaken, Legends of Zelda is still a thing. You were just talking about Breath of the Wild. Am I wrong?
And
I'd like to-
think
I'd like to
you're- I
interject.
think you're getting
I'd like to interject.
hung up on the term rebooted. Because you could reboot a franchise once again. So what I'll do is I'll say this. They rebooted The Legend of Zelda multiple times over. They went into the
Actually-
GameCube and they took it to Twilight Princess. And they went to the Wii and they put it in the clouds. And then they took it to modern day consoles and they rebooted it into a massive open world franchise. So let's reboot it one more time into smaller scale, bigger heart. Thank you.
So what you just described was a franchise just continuing on, not rebooting. What I described was taking a franchise that has no longer that has completed its legacy, and I'm talking about revamping it and actually bringing it back from the dead.
Did he say revamp? I don't think so.
No, he said reboot. That is what he said, Bod.
Again, and we can reboot any franchise that exists. It's as simple as that. You're getting hung up on technicalities of words. Thank you very much.
No, if you can't listen to what Tiggy said,
Do you know what reboot? Please, somebody define reboot for my opponent. Would somebody please define reboot for my opponent? Because he clearly has no idea what he's talking
his
about.
hearing's going.
Clearly has no
Obviously,
idea.
I don't remember the last time that anyone,
You want to elect somebody who does, as video game president, who doesn't know what a reboot is? My goodness.
a
gracious.
reboot, by definition, means that the game has ceased operations. No?
Incorrect. That is not correct. A reboot means they are taking it into a different direction.
No, that's just
Yes,
wrong.
that is not wrong.
No, that's just wrong. I'm sorry.
That is not wrong.
You don't.
It's been 1 minute.
reboot a
If we're gonna move right along here. We're gonna just take a sidebar here because Daddy's got work in the morning. Parker, you have 1 minute, I believe, on the clock. And now, just for the record, so both of you are aware, just historically speaking, there have been plenty of franchises who have still been on current gen consoles or current gen, current era PCs that have been either soft or hard rebooted, either with a prequel as a soft reboot. One could cite Gears of War E-Day, which is coming out, even though Gears 5 just came out a couple of years ago. That is still considered a soft reboot,
Thank you,
or
Dom.
more of a hard reboot, which is more like the extremely shitty Saints Row game that came out a couple of years ago. Just for a clarification point, that was kind of built into the question as a point. Doesn't necessarily have to be something that was dormant. It could be something that is active, that could be rebooted or reworked. Parker, you have
Incredible moderator there.
Parker, 1
I
minute.
think
1 minute on the
I
clock.
think technicalities aside and how we can view certain questions. I guess this is like viewing video games as a whole. We can take different perceptions on how a video game is presented to the actual general audience and what the messaging may mean at the end of the day. Bob obviously doesn't want to take the technical route and actually listen to the question, while I look at what I see and I am presented with the facts of the argument and the actual question. If I could just throw out any franchise that was still going, I guess I'd like to see Assassin's Creed rebooted from like Assassin's Creed. I'd love to see Assassin's Creed 3, the Revolutionary War game, best Assassin's Creed. I'd like to see that rebooted. You can go from there. But since you said reboot, and that's the actual definition, I will stick with my answer.
Thank you, Parker.
And that brings us right to a minute. Folks, we're gonna take one final intermission here while we land the train, and we are going to go to the final poll, which is 1 minute on the clock for the chat to vote on who won our tiebreaker topic number 5. So please vote right now. That is in the chat, and you have about 50 or 40 more seconds to vote on that. Now, in terms of this topic, Tiggy, what are your thoughts? I mean, I know that there was a little bit of static there in terms of what is a reboot, what's not a reboot. What are your thoughts on both candidates' positions?
Yeah, I think it was good. I mean, I liked Parker's answer a lot. And to be honest, I never had a PlayStation 2, so I never was given the ability to play Jack and Daxter. I went to my friends and would play it all the time. Super fun game to watch. Reminds me a lot of Ratchet and Clank a little bit. So I feel like I lost out on a little bit of my childhood, and I would love to play that game sometime in the future. I think that'd be a very good time. And Bob, came strong with Zelda, and I love a good Zelda. I like the Zelda franchise, and very good argumentative strategy by Bob to just block out the noise buzz by just getting louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. So,
yeah, I mean, did
Dom not define what reboot was?
I
did.
I would like to say as an impartial moderator, I thought that Bob handled the question as it was written, and worked in the parameters of what we were asking. One could say that Zelda has been soft rebooted multiple times, from 2D to 3D to to the open world to more kind of contained environments, and back again. And it doesn't seem like the crowd could make up their mind because we are split evenly 50-50 on that topic. So we may need to have some sort of follow-up, unless there's like some lightning round sudden death question that we can come up with. But that was the one that I thought was going to be a good tiebreaker, but apparently not. So I don't know. I mean, we either land the train now, or we if neither candidate is satisfied, I suppose we can try to come up with something else. But we can always save that tiebreaker for another day, or if we'd like to go to another poll on who we think won the overall debate, we could do that as well.
I think the moderators should chime in. I think they should be the deciding vote.
I agree.
Tiggy, I'll give you a couple minutes here. I do have my headphones in. I am listening. I will be right back, but you go ahead and let me know how you feel.
I mean, the moderators to make the final vote. I mean, this is like 3-contestant final of Survivor, and it's only a 2-man race, and the third contestant has to make the final call. So, I had a lot of fun. I think everyone here had a lot of fun. I think we've all learned a lot about what we want to see in a video game association president. I think there are a lot of pros for both candidates here. I think there were good arguments made on both sides, very different strategies. And I'm so excited to lay my vote down. Do I vote without Dom?
I think you and Dom should do a sidebar together.
I think we might have to do a side because I think we have one vote. Because if we just vote,
Yeah, I think you would have to do a sidebar together to vote together.
I think that's a good idea.
I mean, I just okay, shucks. Bob has a girlfriend. I don't know. I mean, I think that as a a gaming community of the people, by the people, for the people, I think personally that we should open it back up to the chat one more time and put another poll out there. And then if it, who won the overall debate, we do that. And then if it is split evenly down the middle, then I think we can cast a tie-breaking vote. As a matter of fact, Tiggy, why don't you go onto your personal Twitch and you can cast a vote in the chat, and I will do the same, and we'll do it that way. So that way we're remaining fair and balanced, no spin. We're not pressuring one another into voting a certain way, and we can do so kind of from the comfort of our own chairs while also getting the community involved. How's that?
My hands are off the keyboard. I will not be inputting any votes.
All right. The chat is going. The poll is going in the chat right now.
What integrity from our contestants here.
I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock, so I have time to log in on the Twitch app.
My head is so itchy.
I mean, you really toughed it out.
Yeah,
you really toughed it out in that wig. Hold on, I gotta go to the Twitch page.
Please, nobody move.
We also should really be filling some of this dead air for the audio listeners.
Yes, of course. And while we're doing that, patreon.com/wickedgoodgaming. Check out our Patreon. You can support us for as little as $1. And you will get your name in the credits. There's some cool Discord benefits. There are also some absolutely fantastic perks coming that we are working on together. So you let us know. Hit us up, and
yeah, we could try to start the changes September.
Yeah,
October.
Yeah, we got some new shit coming. Only about 30 seconds left on the voting timer. So if you haven't yet, I know there's got a couple people in the chat. If you haven't yet voted, please do. On who won the gaming presidential debate, and we will crown our winner momentarily. About 20 seconds left. Before we do that, I'm just going to go ahead and land the train now. Patreon.com/wickedgoodgaming. And obviously, thank you to Park for coming on. We appreciate him as always, and always pushing for to see some FlyQuest W's. So we're looking for that real soon. And thank you.
Yeah.
However, it looks like the people have spoken. We had the who won the debate poll has ended, and 3-2. The vote goes in favor of Bob, who has won our debate by the slimmest of margins. However, emerges victorious. Bob, any final statements as the victor here?
Now that I'm going to be in office, I will personally see if I can get you a plumber for your bathroom. That being said, I will always leave the floor open to more debates. I'm here. I will argue with anybody at any time about anything for however long. It doesn't matter to me. Because why? Because I always end up on top. I'm the fucking cream of the crop, baby. Okay? And as your video game president, moving forward, I can promise you this. All right? I will listen to my people. And I will do everything for my people when it comes to video games. It's that simple. You come to me with video game questions, I give you video game answers. Thank you, America. I'm signing off.
Thank you, Bob. Parker, we appreciate you coming, and
Yep.
you know, I know that things didn't turn out in your favor, but you did have a valiant effort here. I mean, not everybody can come on here and just argue with Bob for an hour and 10 minutes. You know, it certainly takes a certain.
But people might. But more people might because
They might now. They might now. Any final thoughts from you?
No, the will of the people have spoken, and I will acknowledge Bob's win. I wish him the best in his presidency. It's not an easy job. I hope he ages more gracefully. It's a tough job, but he had a really good debate. I also had a really good time. So I like yapping, even though I'm wrong at times. But thank you guys for having me on.
Of course. Tiggy, any final thoughts from you before we close out?
Nope. Thanks, Jess, for keeping it civil for the most part. Jabs were tucked in at all times, and yeah, had a great time. Hoping to be out to LCS Summer Finals and see Parker in the flesh. Maybe have a beer or something together. It'd be fun.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And for everybody in the chat, and for those of you who have voted and made their voice heard, thank you so much for participating in the very first ever WGG Gaming Presidential Debate. Certainly will not be the last. We appreciate all of you. Make sure that you go support us at patreon.com/wickedgoodgaming. You can support the show for as little as $1. And we have some great stuff coming, some great projects that we're working on. So you're going to want to get in early. You're going to want to get in, again, for as little as $1. You can support the show, patreon.com/wickedgoodgaming, patreon.com/wickedgoodgaming, patreon.com/wickedgoodgaming. And yeah, from all of us at Wicked Good Gaming Global Headquarters in Wichita, Kansas, we love you so much. And we'll see you next week.